All right, thanks for joining us today at the latest expert update from Upwave. A month ago, we launched Customer Lift, an exciting new metric on the Upwave dashboard. And today's webinar is with Upwave's head of data science, Dr. Bo Dabbs, to go deeper into how Upwave calculates Customer Lift. Little background on Customer Lift. The most common challenge that we hear from CMOs is an inability to demonstrate the ROI of investing in the brand. When faced with competing demands for budget from channels that appear more measurable, like direct response advertising or new distribution channels, it's always hard to show the revenue impact of investing in the brand. Well, the reason for this is that there's a missing link between sales lift and brand lift, and that is the customer. The reality is that you can't go straight from media delivery to total sales in a way that's actionable for brand advertising, just because of the way brand advertising works. Investing in brands is investing in customers, not short-term sales lift. So we at Upwave think measurement should solve this problem. This has really been the holy grail of advertising measurement, is how to tie brand investments to bottom of the funnel. So we've developed a new metric called Customer Lift. Customer Lift tells you the extent to which the campaign drove new customers or retained existing customers. Customer Lift provides a much better signal and the missing piece to tie brands movement to revenue when paired with customer lifetime value. So today's webinar goes deeper on how Upwave measures customer lift and provides a really interesting example from a recent campaign on the Upwave platform. So with that, I'll turn things over to Dr. Bo Dabbs. Over to you, Bo.
Thanks, Ken. All right, as Ken said, today we're going to be talking about Upwave's new metric, customer lift. And so this metric allows brands and advertisers to measure the full funnel impact of TV and brand campaigns from awareness to customer acquisition in real time within one dashboard. So historically, marketers have struggled to answer the question, how valuable is my brand advertising? And metrics like MTA has been successful in measuring the immediate impact of campaigns, but isn't able to capture long-term impact. And then something like MMM, on the other hand, is able to measure long-term impact, but has to be measured after the fact. So how do you measure the long-term impact of brand advertising now? So Customer Lift provides the measure of long-term impact of advertising. It attributes both mid and post-campaign customer lift to brand campaigns, effectively bringing customer lift data forward to the campaign level in real time. And this new metric provides the speed and granularity needed for optimization and data-driven planning. So how does this metric work? So our customer lift method is best thought of as a two-step process. First, we build a complex machine learning model to predict the probability that a consumer is a customer as a function of various attributes, such as demographics, behaviors, and factors related directly to the brand, such as past usage, favorability, and consideration. We build this model using a sample of control, so unexposed respondents, so that we can understand what factors increase the likelihood that a consumer will be a customer outside of the influence of a given advertising campaign. So effectively, what we're going to do is we're going to take these attributes on the left side, things like location, age, favorability, and then use them to understand who are going to be likely customers, and then who are going to be not likely to be customers. And so typically, respondents with high brand metrics who are in market for the brand's product will have high customer likelihood, and respondents with low brand metrics or who are not in market will have low customer likelihood. So once we have this model built, we can then use these factors to estimate the probability someone will become a customer for all respondents in Upwave's platform. So once we have these factors, we can put them through our machine learning model and get out customer propensities for anyone in our platform. So now that we understand how to relate demographic, behavioral, and brand factors to customer probability, we understand the customer part of our methodology, and we can talk about the lift part of the methodology. So as with any lift methodology, we start with a sample of control and exposed respondents. So in the example on this slide, the top person is going to be exposed to ads, and the bottom person is going to go unexposed. So notice before ad exposure, their demographic, behavioral, and brand factors are all the same. And so is their customer propensity. But after exposure, we can see that some of their brand opinions, these ones at the bottom, have changed. They have increased ad recall and are also more likely to consider the brand. And because of this, their customer propensity has also increased, meaning they are more likely to become a customer of the brand. So the lift that Customer Lift is measuring is exactly this impact in customer propensity. And so we can use our same cut level lift methodology used for brand lift to make sure we have comparable controls for each cut of the exposed population, allowing us to accurately estimate the impact of brand campaigns on customer propensity across the population. So now that we've introduced the methodology, let's consider how this analysis works in practice on a real campaign. Here we consider an ad campaign for a popular car maintenance brand and what they were able to learn from our customer lift analysis. So first, let's look at the overall lift results here on the left. So we see moderate lifts in both consideration and dark blue and preference and light blue. And because these factors are influential for customer propensity, we see a similar value for customer lift. So we see a similar lift in customer propensity. But using our cut level control methodology, we can dig deeper by looking into specific subsets of the exposed audience. So here we consider cuts based on past usage and car servicing behavior. So looking at respondents who reported using this brand in the past, we see that there was a small drop in consideration, but a large lift in brand preference. However, we see that this large lift in brand preference, combined with lifts in other brand KPIs not shown here, resulted in a slightly larger lift in customer propensity. Because this is a lift in propensity to be a current customer among respondents who had already used the brand in the past, this represents a lift in customer retention. Effectively, respondents who had used the brand in the past are now more likely to continue using the brand after the advertising campaign. And then next, we consider lift broken down by car servicing behavior. So we break this into 3 groups. So first, you can look at consumers who typically have their cars serviced by professionals. Among this subset, we see a moderate level of customer lift, which was accompanied by small lifts in both consideration and preference. For consumers who have a friend or family member service their car, we are seeing the largest levels of customer lift, accompanied by large lifts in both awareness and brand preference. And finally, for consumers who typically service their own car, we see a large increase in brand preference, but there's no matching lift in customer propensity. So from this combination of cuts, we have a couple of interesting takeaways. First, owners who service their own cars are unlikely to switch to professional car servicing. Even if you are able to increase their preference for your specific brand, they're just unlikely to become customers. Second, it points out a potential opportunity for the brand to target consumers who typically have a friend or family member service their car. Unlike consumers who service their car themselves, these consumers appear to be more likely to actually convert to customers of the brand. So today we did a deep dive into Upwave's new customer lift methodology, showing how customer lift allows brands and advertisers to better understand the full funnel impact of their advertising campaigns, even if they aren't directly targeting something like direct response outcomes. This methodology works by employing complex machine learning models to first understand what factors impact whether or not a consumer will be a customer of the brand. Then, once we understand this relationship, we can leverage our state-of-the-art cut-level control lift methodology to estimate the impact of campaigns on customer propensity, both overall and for any subset of the exposed population. This methodology is able to account for the differential impact of brand attributes on customer likelihood across different audiences, allowing advertisers to optimize campaigns mid-flight and increase the long-term impact of their brand campaigns. All right. So thanks everyone for joining today. Hope you all have a better understanding of how our customer lift methodology can help you improve campaign performance. And before we head to questions, I also wanted to mention you can find another great use case with Crackle using customer lift in Ad Exchanger this morning. And we'll share a link in the chat in case anyone wanted to check that out as well. So with that, let's see if we have any questions from the audience. Back to you, Ken.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bo. So yes, we do have some questions. Some people have submitted some questions. If you have more questions, submit them into the Q&A. So the first question is, we're running lots of campaigns other than this brand campaign that are more focused on sales. Does this measurement basically steal conversions from those campaigns and give them to the brand campaign?
Yeah, this metric definitely doesn't steal from those. And we're not saying that sort of you can stop all of those campaigns and only run your brand campaigns. What we're really saying is that brand campaigns aren't necessarily making these immediate conversions, but they're setting up opportunities for those other campaigns to deliver down the road. Sort of when someone sees a direct response campaign, they're probably not going to convert unless they already have some sort of preference towards your brand. So we're just measuring the ability of these brand campaigns to enable those later efforts to be effective.
Right, right. So is it fair to say, Bo, that customer lift basically assumes all other things remain equal, remain the same moving forward, the product, the direct response distribution, and it's isolating the specific impact of a change in your brand investments?
Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of setting up these opportunities, which, assuming that everything else stays the same, will turn into customers down the road.
Yeah. Question, are there case studies that prove out that this methodology works? So I would say this case study that was presented here, that's the intention with this case study. We'll be coming out with more case studies in the future. Also, we have multiple brands, several brands that are currently on our platform being measured using customer lift. It's currently in a phased beta where we're expanding it out to more and more brands all the time. Next question is, does customer lift capture both customer acquisition and retention of existing customers?
Yeah, Ken, that one is definitely true. And sort of, if you think of retention, that's really sort of looking at consumers who've already used your brand, maybe are still using your brand. It's still important to sort of make sure that their brand attributes sort of stay at high levels. Sort of, if their favorability for your brand drops, that can lead you to lose customers. And so by measuring sort of the impact of customer lift on people who are already customers, that's how we can measure something like the impact on customer retention. And then on the flip side, for people who aren't already customers, we can also look at the impact of brand campaigns on customer lift there, which essentially is then talking about customer acquisition.
All right. And let's see. The question, are you able to share the platform interface for the marketing users? If you reach out to someone at Upwave, they can take you through a demo of the platform, which will include showing you customer lift. We also have marketing collateral that our salespeople can provide, which include screenshots of the interface. Next question is, if my campaign drives lift in awareness and consideration, but I'm not reaching people who can buy my product, will I still drive customer lift?
So most likely the answer is no. It's sort of like the example of people who service their own cars. It's sort of, you might be able to drive these brand metrics for them, but ultimately, if they're just not the type of person that's going to use your product, you're just not going to see customer lift. So that's something we can learn in that first stage of the model, where you just see that sort of, if you look at people that service their own cars, they just essentially never are customers of your brand. So that tells us that even if you see some brand lift among those people, that's likely not going to convert to customer lift.
All right. Next question is, what you're saying about MTA and MMM is correct, and we validate our MTA with our MMM, that definitely shows the MTA has lower numbers than the MMM for brand campaigns. Can you validate your customer lift in some way?
Yeah, that's definitely something we're interested in doing. So we haven't done that yet, but we're definitely moving in that direction, sort of trying to take something like customer lift and use it, and I guess validate it using MMM and sort of line it up. Because to a certain extent, we think the customer lift should be giving more of a correct valuation as compared to MTA. But yeah, we're definitely excited to start putting that together with some MMM data to see how well it lines up.
All right. All right. That's all the questions that have come in. This has been a great session and a great turnout. These expert updates about customer lift over the last month have been our most well-attended expert updates, which really reflects, this is by far the most requested metric, the most cited unsolved problem from brands, and which is what's led to this investment of our data science team in developing this new metric. So we're really excited to roll this out and getting more feedback from customers. And if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to sales@upwave.com or to your CSM if you're an existing customer. And we'll be happy to tell you more and to include you in the beta if you are not currently already in the beta. Thanks so much and have a great day.